Welcome to Montclair's Channel 34 Senior of the Month project. I'm Barbara Chase, and our Senior of the Month for January 2022 is Mr. Jack Farrell.
Good afternoon.
How are you, Jack?
Very well, thank you.
So welcome.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Congratulations for being here and being nominated for Senior of the Month.
Thank you. It's really an honor to be nominated and honored by your hometown.
I think we want to spend some time getting to know a little something about you. So we'll start off with when you were born, where you were born.
I was born July 11th, 1947 in Chester, Pennsylvania. Came to Montclair when I was 2 months old to live. My mom and I came to live with my great-grandparents, Benjamin and Candy Greenleaf, on Linden Avenue. And I am a South End kid, you know, having completed my education in the Montclair school system. So I'm Mountie born, Mountie bred, going through the entire Montclair public school system.
I could say rah-rah.
Being a proud Mountie, having played on the championship 64 team with all the greats like Ronnie Burton, Bruce Taylor, Dean Taylor, David Johnson, all the guys like that. Being on that championship team, 65, I was second team all-county guard, and a proud graduate 1966 of Montclair High School. You know, South End has been my home. I still reside in South End. I've lived in Montclair all of my 75 years, other than the time I was away in college in Nebraska.
Are you employed now?
No, I'm now retired. I was very fortunate. I went to a small school in Nebraska, Hiram Scott College in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Graduated in '69. And when I came home, I went to work for the New Jersey State Department of Health's Division of Addiction Services in Newark, and the second-run state methadone maintenance program in the city of Newark. And at the time of the '60s, at the height of the drug revolutions that were taking place at that time, I worked my way up through the system and retired in 2002. I retired as deputy director of that division, where I was responsible for all the alcohol and drug treatment services in the state of New Jersey. During my career in the state health department, I had been an acting assistant commissioner 4 times through various administration changes. So it gave me the opportunity to start on an entry-level position and work my way up to the highest level in the department. I think really the highlight of my career, besides the drug treatment experience, while I was working in the department, I went on and got a master's degree in social work, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. But I think one of the highlights of my career was that the disaster of the World Trade Center.
How long all told did you work for the state?
29 years I was there, and then when I retired, I took the early retirement. I retired at 55 with 29 years of service, and then I went to the University of Medicine and Dentistry for another 12 years, where I worked in the at UBHC, which is Universal Behavioral Healthcare Services, part of UMDNJ at that time, and what was called the Violence Institute. I was a trainer and community consultant in the area of culture of violence, gangs, violence in the community, and I worked with professional staff and professional staff development and training professional staff on how to interact with the client and patient population that they were seeing who were victims of, you know, either violence or they themselves were perpetrators of violence. Because one of the important things, we talk about stopping the violence and we talk about the victims of violence, but if we really delve down into the violence that we see in the country today and in our communities, we have to talk about the perpetrators as well, because for the perpetrators is something that's triggered the violence. So if we're going to stop the violence, we have to start to begin to assess and look at what's causing people to act and react they do, that then inflicts harm on other people, which then becomes the victims. So it's a double-edged sword.
So what are you involved in now in the community that
well, several things that
an impact?
I really I always try and give back whenever I can. I am active member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, the Eta Pi chapter, which is the Montclair chapter of the Qs, where we're engaged and involved with the community in, Christmas and toy drives and Thanksgiving with Million Man March. In the past, we've been involved with them. It gives the opportunity for positive black male modeling for people to see black men, educated black men, giving back to the community, because the 4 cardinal principles of our fraternity are manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. And when you model yourself after those and you try and live by those creeds, then you present a positive image in the community. I'm actively involved in a senior program called the Dewdrop Inn, which is very near and dear to me in many ways. It's an interesting story. My late colleague, and actually great colleague, Bruce Taylor, was very active, and he invited me to the Dewdrop Inn, the senior center. And I said to him, Bruce, why do I want to go to the senior center? That's old people. And he looked at me and he laughed and he said, because we're old. The other thing I really enjoy this time of year, the holiday season, I don't know why it happens, but people want me to play Santa Claus. And so interacting as Santa Claus for the children at the neighborhood center in town, Montclair Neighborhood Development Corporation, and the role of Santa Claus, and seeing the smiles on the children's face, and seeing the diversity change in a different way now, with the broader diversity now of our Latin community, our Hispanic Latino community,
Yes.
and others coming in, and hoping that the town retains its identity and does not become now a town that becomes separated and segregated into something that it hadn't been in the past in many ways, and that, recognizing that this is truly and should be a diverse community.
I
in
have
New
a
Jersey.
copy of a picture of you, Santa Claus.
I have a
when
picture of you. I didn't know
they
if you
brought the
wanted to talk
kids
about it. There's a
to-
certain pretty lady that's sitting on Santa's knee. But I should have thought to bring it so I could
I wasn't
show
going to
it.
mention that part.
It's so very, very important that we don't lose that legacy of the Wally choices of the community of the town, because, starting with grassroots, starting with the daycare programs, looking out for the children. I was not, I was older when he started grassroots, but my children experienced the grassroots experience.
Right.
So it's important that we not lose the legacy as the town diversifies and changes change is inevitable, but I think we have to also maintain respect for those ancestors who have set the course and set the,
Yeah.
the charter that's in place that will allow for us to be remembered, and I appreciate the opportunity awarded me to be able to even say this, so that hopefully it becomes memorialized in some way, that 15 years from now maybe somebody will see it and want to know who a Wally Choice was, who a Ray Spivey was, who a Barbara Chase was, who worked for the Commission for the Blind, another state colleague, or other people like that, who a Jack Farrell is, whatever. It's not, the importance is that we don't lose sight of our proud history that we have in this community and have had for many, many years.
Well, I know with as active as you've been, you're going to continue in the future doing things that will have an impact on
Thank you
this
very
township.
much.
Thank you. Thank you very
My
much.
pleasure.
Jack Farrell.